Greetings and bienvenue, Midnight Crew. Thank you for returning to this broadcast, and welcome to new viewers joining us for the first time. If you like a video, then feel free to subscribe.
Please share any dreams or encounters you're sure happened that you've had involving aliens of any sort. Mine have to deal with the Greys. I'm posting this because something happened to me as I woke up this morning. I describe it as I perceived it to feel in regards to me calling it a dream. At about 6:30, I woke up from my alarm, and dozed off again after a few minutes. I dreamed that I had gotten up, and was standing beside my bed intending to get ready for work, when I suddenly found myself unable to move, and at the same instant I began to hear a somewhat loud sound that sounded like someone was repeatedly pressing down every key on a keyboard with a soft organ flute setting. Not pleasing to the ear. My mind was overcome with a feeling of what I described to my friend as mental TV static, though I could still think to myself. Slowly, I gained some strength and turned my head to my bedroom window, and standing just outside the window, about 4 or 5 feet in height, was a gray man staring at me. I nearly lost my nerve, but I began to pray, asking Jesus to make this all end now, and as the gray left and my feeling came back, I woke up with a start in my bed under the blanket as if nothing happened. Checked the clock and it was 6:40. Put me in a really bad mood all morning. I will share another spookier story that happened to me in the next post. When I was 5, I had gotten up in the middle of the night, and looked out the window. My mom wasn't in the bed we shared, but I didn't really think anything of it. Nothing out of the ordinary looking out the window at our cul-de-sac, but as I looked to the right of the house, I still vividly remember seeing behind the trees, hanging maybe a few hundred feet away in the air, a dark circle in the sky, not very large, with one central large light, and probably 5 to 7 ones arranged around it on the edge of the disk. All white lights. I remember seeing the central light become brighter, and make a cone of light like a spotlight in the air below. I turned around and a small gray alien wearing something that resembled a swimming wetsuit stood in the doorway to the room. It was very small. I honestly think it might have been shorter than me at age 5. I walked closer to it, and stood a few feet away. I remember it spoke to me, but I don't remember any details. It didn't seem angry or threatening to me, and I'm sure I answered it somehow. Again, can't remember what I said, but afterwards, it left down the hall and that's as far as I remember. The problem is, years and years later, my mom told me that when I was about 5, she had a similar but far worse experience. She said she woke up in a metallic room, and one of these aliens like I had seen was tugging at her arm. She told me it told her horrible things she would not repeat to me, and this went on for some time. She also mentioned it was a very short creature, so with that, and her telling me it happened when I was 5, I feel uneasy wondering if this all happened the same night. I recall she said she prayed and the whole thing ended very quickly.
Wake up. Orange lights shining through the window. Should be thinking this shit's fucked up. Instead think it's completely normal, like it's supposed to be there. Then it hits me. Feel like I know what's about to happen. Feel helpless like a powerless animal about to be captured by hunters or something. Realize there's something in the corner of the room. Won't let me see it. Keeps fucking with my eyes. All black and shadowy in that one corner. My focus just seems to move off of it when I try to look at it. Grab GF. Shake her. She will not move. I refuse to look away from the corner of the room as I'm doing this. Decide that it's likely me that they want and I'm going to make a run for the bathroom to try and put something in between me and whatever the fuck is in my room. Jump off the bed and as soon as my foot touches the floor my body freezes in position. Feels like electricity buzzing through my spine and into my limbs. Start to levitate. Can't shout, can't move. Fear so intense that I'd rather be anywhere else but that room. I'm being rotated to my left as I'm levitating. My screams and shouts for help just come out as little more than whispers. Now I'm facing my GF again and she's just lying there not having moved an inch. The buzzing becomes so intense. My vision goes like TV static. Pass out. Upon waking, my GF was out cold for about 5 to 10 minutes. Wouldn't budge no matter how loud I called her name or how much I shook her. She's normally a very light sleeper, so WTF. Whatever was in that room with us that night was pure fucking evil.
Screams and shouts for help just come out as little more than whispers. I know this feeling. My experiences, 6 to 8 years of age, have recurring dreams of something picking me up and carrying me out of one room of my house and down the hallway toward the front door. Resistance is impossible with it feeling like being paralyzed and at times limp. Screams and cries for help don't come out at all, or are extremely quiet like a whisper. Have a very vivid dream years later of jumping over fences in my neighborhood fleeing zombies. Eventually fall from climbing over a fence and get torn apart by the mob of them. Wake up in mid-swing trying to fight off the horse and strike the wall next to my bed. Start to consciously recognize I'm unnaturally fearful of imagery that resembles the typical gray after watching the intro to a UFO YouTube video of a gray walking around a corner and looking at the viewer. Start conditioning myself to hate the imagery instead of fear it from then on. Use black salve to remove what I thought could be an implant over the course of several weeks. A month or so later I have a dream of a typical gray standing just outside a door frame. Give the being a strong sense of rejection as I had been conditioning myself to induce anger instead of fear at the sight of something resembling them. Dream ends and wakes up and feels a different lump right in front of my heart that wasn't there before. There were a few others, but those were the most significant experiences. The lump is still there, only partially removed.
Be around 12 or 14, dreaming, see a UFO out of my window, spooked, suddenly see a head looking over my windowsill, it's a weird guy wearing goggles, wake up. Be 25, dreaming of being at work, outside, talking with colleague, look up, see UFO, it's a triangular-shaped craft, I'm absolutely amazed, I'm like, look at this, transfixed, wake up. 5 grays, in my bedroom, I begin to float up, feel weird and disoriented and can't move, freaked but not terrified, try to say the name of Jesus to end the encounter, can't remember the name, try singing, all in my head, can't move, feel myself shrinking from my feel like I'm being pulled down some kind of vacuum cleaner, it's not happening, like they are trying but can't make it happen. I begin to move around my room, I move in front of one of the beings, the detail of what I'm seeing is disturbing, I can see the pores of their skin, like this isn't a dream. My attention moves to the ceiling, where there's some kind of portal, and more of these beings are coming in my room. They float in with their arms extended and they spin as they float down. Suddenly I hit my bed, and they all fade out.
I shouldn't be reading this thread. I'm alone in the house tonight and that's usually when they come. It's been many years though. 4 or 5 years ago I was up late but in bed. I think I was on my way to sleep but not totally asleep yet. A bright blue light coming through the window at the foot of my bed woke me up and I remember thinking, no, this can't be happening to me. I tried to jump out of bed to run for it but couldn't move. As I struggled and panicked I looked to my right and was staring a gray right in the face. First thing I saw were the eyes, then deep wrinkles between the brows, and dark wrinkles at the ends of the mouth like he was scowling at me. Very angry, evil-looking face. I immediately black out. I shoot awake around 3 a.m., wish I wasn't alone in the house, and go back to sleep with the lights on. I kind of forgot about it like a normal dream, but a year or so later I thought about it again, and that was really the moment I went, holy shit, this is real and really happening. I started thinking about similar dreams all through my childhood. I believed up until that point, but was mostly just afraid of the dark and being outside at night. Now though, I take the phenomenon very seriously and go to bed early when I'm alone so I don't accidentally see them again.
All Greentext the first encounter with Greys that I'm aware of, Transit of Venus 2012. X is putting together a group meditation for it. Participate and am surprised by feeling consciously different afterwards. Feel compelled to go outside for a smoke, specifically outside onto the roof outside my bedroom window. After I finish smoking, I feel compelled to look into the field adjacent to my property. The only way I can see the field is by holding on to the next level of the roof and standing with only 1 foot on the roof. I don't think this is weird at all, never happened before or since. I see what I think are 6 children playing in my field with what I thought were neat toys. Man, kids these days have some cool toys. The whole time they're coming towards me. Scene missing. They're not halfway between where I first saw them and where I am. The toys were floating red orbs that gave off a dull red glow that illuminated the kids. Imagine a glow stick, but dark and red and brighter. Why are their arms so long? They're not human. Hear and see my mom at the window telling me to come inside and go to bed. For some reason it doesn't seem important that there are 6 gray aliens and 6 orbs outside. Go inside, go to bed and immediately fall asleep. Something that has not happened before or since. I have chronic insomnia. Ask my mom why she came into my room and told me to come inside the next day. I didn't go into your room last night. It may be worth noting that I didn't know that Greys have longer arms than humans. I also didn't know that red orbs are associated with the phenomena. I don't think most people know about the red orbs, but they follow the ships in Close Encounters of the Third Kind. I've seen them referenced in The Watchers 2 by Raymond Fowler and Masquerade of Angels by Carla Turner, but not much else. If I hadn't seen them myself, I probably would never have learned about them. I have other stories if there's interest. December 2018. Friend gave me some LSD and I took it. Have the most intense trip I have ever had. I end up losing touch with whatever this world is after recognizing things that are not possible happening on a computer screen a few times. Castaneda would say I stopped the world. For a span of time, my awareness goes from total void to an altered perception of the world begging me not to destroy it. Eventually I end up somewhere else entirely, after going between void and an altered version of this world numerous times. It was the realm of pure energy. Words do not really convey what this experience is like. One of them was like being a red string stretched across an endless abyss. It was really difficult to endure. Slowly, string by string is added on top and it becomes more bearable. This continues until the experience becomes enjoyable. There were numerous realms that had their own qualities, that is merely an example of one of them. It was apparent to me how each energy was connected to the energy before it. The only thing I'm aware of that accurately depicts this experience is the Tree of Life. Each level becomes more and more like a roller coaster ride that I want to get off. Eventually I find myself in bed. Have the distinct feeling that a gray alien had brought me back from wherever I went and that I had done something wrong. It reminded me of the time I projected my awareness outside of what is called the Matrix and saw it from the outside. I think this experience changed me in some way, because some truly awesome things happened after it. One of the only things I can compare this experience to is the weighing of a heart against Mayat's feather. It was like seeing where all the energy that I'm made up of calls home, and in a way being judged for what energy composed my being.
Got 2 dreams. This is the first one I had years ago. I was 22 at the time. I was at the edge of my town, which was a farming community. It's dusk. I was crossing the road with my brother, there was a gap in traffic to get to a farm field. Suddenly, everything freezes. Cars stop driving. We feel like we're moving in molasses. Everything has this heat mirage effect. A gunmetal, gray oval-shaped spacecraft lands in the middle of the road. 3 landing legs come out and a ramp deploys. 6 tall gray beings exit the ship in single file. They are all wearing tight-fitting black turtleneck jumpsuits. They come to me directly. The one in front has a wrinkly face with skin imperfections. Black wraparound eyes. It looks angry, but I didn't do anything wrong. Then I wake up. Dream 2. I was in a gray, concrete facility. Lots of glass. Felt like a YMCA. Humans with a multitude of different hair colors were in the building. Some looked not exactly human. Varying ages and ethnicities. I was being led by a white woman with pink hair who told me to follow her. She looked white, but her pupils were different. I didn't listen to her. I tried to run away and escape the building, and this strange 6-foot-tall gray sleeve began to pursue me. As I looked into certain rooms, I could see the same grays from my other dream performing laboratory work. Finally, the sleeve caught up to me and it restricted my body vacuum, sealing me. Then I woke up from that. Pick related is what the beings looked like.
About 4 years ago, I'm pretty sure this was a dream, but I was laying in bed. There was a mirror on my left side. In the mirror I could see the doorway to the next room. Anyway, what I remember, I waking up, looking in the mirror, and seeing a gray standing in the doorway. He had a shocked look on his face, like he didn't expect me to be able to see him or that he didn't expect me to wake up. He was hearing something like a hooded poncho with a black triangle symbol on it. I attached a sketch I made later.
Was looking through my stored pictures and this reminded me of something. When I was little, like 5 or so, my granddad told me that
the reason the aliens fly in round saucers is because they don't have thumbs.
somehow his reasoning was that without thumbs you can't grip tools or whatever unless they are round. I don't know, that was 4 decades ago. But anyway, I remember freaking out a little when descriptions of greys came out that they only have 4 fingers and no thumbs. My granddad had seen a couple unidentified things in the sky. A saucer flew over him and my mom and aunts once when my mom was like 10 or so. It was being chased by jets according to him. And one time when he was on a break at the mill, he saw a disc rise up out of the swamp behind the mill and float off down the river valley.
I was in jail, asleep in a cell, but had no cellmate. You know how you wake up a little bit when you roll over? Yeah, I did them once, but halfway through the rolling over I got paralyzed, so I was caught lying on my back and couldn't move or make any noise. I realized the light was on, not something I could control, lights out automatically at 9 p.m. So I'm there thinking it was morning and it's time to go out for a roll call. Tried to move but couldn't. I got angry and forced myself to get out of bed. I rolled over the rest of the way and fell out of the bed. There were 4 or 5 beings in the room, all except one was the size of a child, the other was as tall as me. Dunno who or what they were, but I remember thinking, who the fuck are these cunts? On my way to the floor as I fell. They sure as fuck weren't human, they were those stereotypical greys. As soon as I hit the floor, I got my movement back and the lights were off. Weird.
I saw an UFO and something that might have been a UFO, plus I used to have a lot of dreams about aliens. Not sure if I actually saw them in dreams. Mostly it was UFOs. It would either be, I'm in my bed, see bright light, UFO floating outside the window, wake up, or long dreams with a mounting sense of dread where I'd know a UFO is hunting me, culminating in abduction, and fear so powerful I'd wake up. My nose gets stuffed when I'm on my back, and those dreams would often happen when I was sleeping on my back. So that might have caused them. My house got raided by police and I was arrested through no fault of my own. Let go almost immediately. but now my dreams have cops instead of UFOs. I've seen a UFO when I was a kid. My parents also saw it. Dad still remembers. Bunch of floating lights above ground. We walked up to it out of curiosity. Couldn't figure out what it was, then left. Maybe we got abducted that time, I don't know. Something that might have been a UFO was when I was walking my pet at night. A satellite-type light in the sky that did 2 perfectly sharp 90-degree turns. Its brightness or speed never changed, and it just flew out of sight. I also had a hilarious sleep paralysis dream that felt as real as UFO dreams. Parents bought me a bicycle and I loved it, and that night I dreamt that a bunch of tiny black blobs appeared in my bedroom. Some of them held me down and the rest stole the bike.
I hope that you enjoyed tonight's broadcast. If you enjoyed tonight's story, then please subscribe to the channel, as more green texts will appear daily. A new broadcast will appear when the clock strikes midnight Central Time.